Hello everyone. I'm 25 years old male from Eastern Europe, and I want to talk about the what's going on in the world right now because it seems like Gen Z have no way out. You might say it's not true. You still have plenty of jobs in different sectors. You still can do pretty anything with your life and be safe and be okay. But life is not only about being safe and being okay, but about building wealth, because wealth means health, health means something else, happiness, and so on. It's important question. Even if you're just academical guy, like money is important. It's not just a dirty word. I don't want to explain it. Just the way things work. And in terms of leverage, we had that kind of IT jobs, and not only IT, but in most of cases for medium person, there was the elevator on to the higher or a bit higher than medium class. That leaving that aside, the really hard question on like what to do, what are you doing, and let me explain to you why I can give you that that opinion, because I'm from Eastern Europe. We have very low salary for almost any type of job, whether it's electrical engineering or medicine or anything else. And I'm coming from very humble beginnings, and I had to, like, we have no education. The educational system is destroyed by its definition. Like, if you want the classical education in its classical way, you have to build it by yourself. That's the way I did it, and it's pretty useless because university gives you credential which supposed for you to have for in order to go into some industry, to go into some sector. Yeah, and that's used for basic things as medicine, classical engineering, and so on. And the only like thing that most of Gen Z were attended to is IT in our local market. But IT seems to be slowly dying all over the world and anywhere else. But let me explain for you that in the way that will not solve your current, your current feeling of being lost, but helping you to guide through it, because I have much more pressure in terms of in many terms for finding this solution, because we have no out we have no way out in Eastern Europe. I'm going to give you that, like, several things that I see that might help you to understand where you can move. Keeping medicine and law aside, those sectors, they're like, it's usually, if you have money to study for that in 4, 5, 6 years, you can do it, and then you like go to the industry, everything is okay, those are pretty stable. But I'm talking about super, like, about the guy from lower class to medium class, like, who just think of building his life in some way. And I want to share what I think about it. I want to share even more that open solution. First off, I'd say that solution exists, but it takes very long time. For our parents, that was like, you study from 18 to 21, then you get job in the industry, then government and university helps you in order to like be attending to that job and like build your wealth. For us, it doesn't work anymore. And the thing here is that you kind of have to pay attention for much longer time. It might take next 10 to 15 years of your life, because I'm 25 now. I'm ready that I'm going out to the normal job, which is classical engineering, might be in 15 years. Because we have no classical engineering in terms of, like, you can go for classical engineering in Eastern Europe, but then you stay here and you can't move anywhere from with it. Probably if you're not super passionate about it, or in any case, that's going to be very, very hard. And staying in Eastern Europe isn't a solution. There are countries like Russia, Ukraine, Belarus, and so on. I don't know. Like, IT industry sucks all over the world, and what's going on here locally is a special case. It's like not any way better. Yeah, it's much harder even there. But I can't compare. I don't know honestly. Like, I have no idea. But that's just probably my feelings. Doesn't matter. So what the solution can be for current Gen Z, and what you can do. First off is to build knowledge in different branches of science. That one might be math and physics, and then computer science. Like, get your baccalaureate in electrical engineering and making masters in computer engineering or computer science. And if you're in countries out of European Union, you might be considering PhD as thing to move them with that into Europe or USA. That might help you. Okay, that's one path, which is education, which is very hard, especially here or anywhere else. It's obviously hard, but that the way that can lead potentially to something bigger in the future, or at least something. That's one way. The second way is risking everything and going directly into IT, but I can guarantee you going to be lost there in terms of there are different roles. For software engineering, there might be just backend with very high competition and need for credentials as well. Anyways, and like those, like, go to IT is kind of works, but kinda if you get there in that industry, in that current state, you probably won't have any free time for your creative brain to study something else. So what you can do is study first, but you're going to lose some money. Okay, it's not like if you do studying instead of working directly. But what money gives to us? It's either a very big amount of money which provides us with some kind of living space, which is like an asset which we can use later for education in somewhere in Europe or anywhere else, right? So you can, like, that's might be a solution, like getting that living space, becoming professional, as making money as fast as possible, let's say, right? I don't know, let's say you, like me, you have nice mathematical knowledge, let's say, quote, because it's never going to be nice. I mean, it's a C. So you can get into something like quant. I'm not sure it even exists locally. I know it exists, but like it's I don't know what's going inside. I already said, it's taking all of your creative mind, so you can't study, kind of like, because you're going to keep one priority running, and it can't be running without your attention. So that's the pipeline I'm trying to explain. Because if you get into IT, you make, let's say, you save up to 500 grand. It's amazing. It's super cool. You invested in living space, but it's already hard for you to get a degree and education if you skipped it completely. It's already very, very hard for you to, like, if you just born and you study only computer science, or you just practice at the job and you just worked for several years, like for people inside of industry and who at least try to get it to some extent through the education in its true in its how it's supposed to be, you know that it's very, very hard. You can't just like super easy to wire your brain. It's going to be very painful and big job. It's super hard. Like, that's getting back then, like, you left with your $600,000 and kind of no job. and it's painful by definition. If you're going to chill till the end of your life, it's probably okay, it's super cool, I mean, it's amazing, but are you ready to live that life? Are you sure like that is going to be a solution for you? Because I thought, like, of course it can be a solution always, why not? I just have money, I just have enough money, I can live on my own, do nothing, let's say. But I find it's really, really hard. You want to progress as a person anyways, and that's just hard. And even building business is hard without knowledge about some branch. It's not going to be that easy. You literally can end up in depression. But maybe I'm saying something, maybe I'm wrong. I would like to be wrong, okay? But let's just leave this alone, because like moving forward in the life without the education and proper foundation might be painful, because you might be caught in some, let's say, European market, and that is like you just there, and you can get anywhere else, and money doesn't flow inside anymore from US or European Union. That's going to be a problem, and you can't get out because you also have no education. No company hires you because they have a lot of local guys, and let's say that's becoming a problem. So the one way I see is the education and proper foundations there. Like I see electrical engineering baccalaureate for developing very, very deep knowledge in math or physics or both, and like approaching the problems, learning how to approach the problems, not just even learning the specialization itself, because for learning it really you need a lot of practice, and if you study like me evening school, it's going to be hard for you to find practice. Then you can, but it's if you at least get a theoretical knowledge, which is the hardest, to be honest, I think, for my opinion. So you are able to later on probably at least somehow switch or find people that's going to help you get entry level some kind of job somewhere in electrical engineering. It always going to be possible, and you will be able to do it anyways. So you're not going to starve already. It's already good. Then you can build masters in computer science, not in terms of building masters in computer science like just getting that paper. Getting paper isn't hard. What is like the goal of it is getting the knowledge, because paper wasn't a problem for me ever. I thought of that the real problem is the knowledge. I need to know how to get that knowledge. That's a problem for me. So yeah, that's what I see for, let's say, Eastern Europe, or maybe for anybody else. That looks cool. For Europe, I do think you get job in electrical engineering, and from there you probably maybe consider to develop in computer science or something like that, because it's going to be easier. Yeah, and the next step in that theory is that you can get a PhD, so you can be relocated, as I said. I hope so, I said. So that's kind of the way it can work. It can work. And I do think that probably the only one way for you, I don't know what else you can do like that, but the second option is to work, and you have to find the way to make leverage, to make enough money for you to get an education later in stable industry, like industrial automations or something like that. Somewhere where you get those credentials and they are valuable, somewhere in Europe, let's say. That's working. That's supposed to work for any of us, I guess. Like, anyways. So, or maybe you want to get a medicine degree or something like that. But like, I'm talking from perspective of mediocre guy from low-level income family, low-level income country, low-level education country. Everything is low level. So all you have is to study by yourself without access to anything super hard. Like the only thing I was able to do is study math really, really deep, like just solve a lot of problems. So that the only thing that I was able to do from here, like sitting in front of my desk. So now I'm thinking of what I'm going to do for the next 10, 15 years. That is probably a solution where the experience is also important, but let me explain those. It's very important to understand that general software engineering, just a role in software engineering, won't lead you anywhere further by itself. Being expert in data engineering, what's so called, in fact, it's software engineering with skills of data manipulation and distributed computing, isn't the thing to rely on, for my opinion. What we see right now on the market, the only living thing is DevOps professionals who are supposed to not automate the infrastructure, but those people who are supposed to be responsible for infrastructure, responsible for computers, which are servers type, and doing those things. And I do believe that the only living role in IT and anywhere else is the only role that exists right now in the world. Hear me out. That is role of responsibility for something. Role of responsibility for something. People health, which is medicine. People rights, which is law. IT infrastructure for it to be living and be up. So, role of responsibility. Being responsible for business decisions isn't that hard for, like, you don't need qualification for that. It's harder to prove to market that you are really doing anything with that. Engineering, right? Classical engineering, what do I think about it? It's you can't leverage with that. You can't like just make much more money if you have no very, very good local companies as NVIDIA, AMD, or maybe just if you just go to general manufacturing, small to medium manufacturing somewhere where it's no high-tech solutions, anything like that. I don't believe that is going to be really that beneficial for any of us. Like, you just end up staying locally. That's the problem. That might be a problem. So what else? Yeah, that is. Being like that is kind of complicated. We don't know where is this AI automation goes on, but like what they can automate is a responsibility, foundation knowledge. Yeah. So building that electrical engineering, computer science, or computer engineering masters, maybe going for PhD, is going to lead you to probably better society where you can like build something. That's a cool thing to do. That's a cool thing to think of. Anyways, and yeah, for IT, I do think that infrastructure support is the only thing that is important, because something inside can be written by agents. Something outside, of course, as well, but taking responsibility for agent doesn't work. Yeah, I do think that the one role in IT right now, yeah, and that's DevOps, and that's going to be working for the next 15 years at least. That's a very complicated role, but for that you also need qualification. I do believe, like, if you want to progress through your career, you have to get like fundamental knowledge on everything. As I said, getting masters in computer science is going to be helpful, really, really helpful if you want to get hired for bigger company later on in the future. What else for engineering we can do? I do see research and IT classical engineering, I don't consider that to be a working thing really. R&D or infrastructure support, I do think both of them are working. And for the rest, like writing business logic or backend for you, if you're good infrastructure engineer, going to take you one prompt to ChatGPT. That's like you also can be doing that. Yeah. For the rest, there's something happening inside of electronics, embedded systems, but that this stack is hard to transfer. If you like stick in that path, you just stuck there. I'd say you really can be just there stuck in embedded systems and electronics. It's just for me. I do think those you need to like really work hard for them to let your career running. And to some extent, I believe if you stay in them, you stay there like for till the end. And pace might not be that high, and proving that you have some exceptional knowledge is also harder because you always need access to production or being able to make that lab at your home and really experimenting. That's what I think. And yeah, doing research. Yeah, I do think I don't know if it's possible, but I would like to do baccalaureate in electrical engineering, finish it, then master's in computer science, and then PhD in economics. That would be amazing stack, but I'm not sure if it's possible. I do think that's not possible, but it would be great. I mean, probably there are just several series of baccalaureate study. I don't know. I just realized that it's going to take for me 10-15 years to really build like the foundation I want. I'm probably gonna die when it will be ready, my foundations to me to go to work. But I find most of jobs not providing you with something that is going to lead you anywhere where you're supposed to like relax, sit in your chair and say, yeah, I did a great job. I'm sure I'm qualified professional for that exact type of job. And I'm sure I'm valuable to that market in all possible means. Anyways. You also can build business or build your social media or anything like whatever Gen Z is saying. Those alpha males. But I do believe that only foundational knowledge can lead you to success. I don't think anything else, except of getting the highest credentials for running any public research or having any papers in any field, can lead you to the really good job. I do think it's harder to find your way out in that conditions. But I do believe we can do it. I do believe there is a way out. And I'm not sitting here just giving up. Definitely. I'm ready to sacrifice next 15 to 10 years for building things from the beginning if it will take me like do it 3, 4, 5 times. I don't care if I will have to start baccalaureate 3 times again from the beginning in any new country just to be qualified for classical job, which is, I guess, will provide at least with something mediocre, which is also okay. Yeah, with AI, we don't know where it goes. You know what the problem? We don't know. We don't know if majority of jobs will be automated, which jobs will be automated, how they're going to be automated, how it's going to affect you in particular situation with the knowledge you have and the expertise you have. If you're just a front-end engineer, imagine how weak you are on the current market. That's, you understand, right? it's hard. It's going to be hard for you to stay stable for the next 15 years. And that's also, I wanted to say that it's not only the problem of computer science or anything like that. It is the general problem for economics, because now people with possibility to move the economics for them, who are making money, buying houses, flats, living spaces, whatever, they can't do it anymore. All we all becoming mediocre, kind of, you know what I mean? Like, and that is, we all kind of becoming mediocre, and that is, and might become. So everyone gets just the salary enough for living, and yeah, that's a reality we probably can live for the next 20-30 years. And I would expect the worst. I would expect the worst from the world where I'm living, and better I'm going to work against it in before it happens. I'm going to work against it before it happens, because I know the worst happens. And I'm not going to die here. I don't know what people think. I don't know where everyone goes, and I don't know what people does or think. I just going to study electronics and then build the computer from ground up, then probably run a research. I don't want to say anything about my plans. They're not giving me any money, any real credentials, any guarantee of success. It doesn't move me anywhere yet, and it doesn't lead me to those credentials pay off right off the boat, especially in my country. But we should move somewhere. We can't just sit there and wait something to happen. Just better take next 15 years for realizing that at 40 you're going to suck anyways, and you're going to suck hard. And I do think that's a very super cool position, which I propose, which is super realistic, and we better to follow and prepare for that. Expecting to get one more higher education in much harder much harder. Don't get it. Don't go and get degree in physics. I just watched a video of a guy who get degree in physics, PhD, and he doesn't know what to do with that in current job market. But I mean, learn to build is it sounds even less working anymore. Like, learn everything. Fuck, get all the possible credentials, do all possible things, work any possible job, get experience in different branches. I don't know, prepare for the worst. And if you prepare for the worst, I do think that's going to pay off your life in the future. I do think that might be working for some of us. Yeah. And that's going to be hard. And I do think that this realistic position is something we should to realize, and not just to sit here and cry, but prepare for that war. I sounds too dramatic, but you know, guys, I'm taking it dramatically from this dramatic perspective. I'm thinking of life in that way, rather than just expecting making reels and getting rich. I'd better go the hard way. Yeah. If I'm going to regret it, going the hard way, if I'm going to regret it, I'm ready to regret it. I'd better regret the whole life spent in science, figuring out how different things working, rather than sit here and die and waiting for something to happen with me or somebody come to help me. It's not going to happen with none of us. We Gen Z, we can't even help each other. We're so weak. Yeah, guys, life isn't a joke, and 21st century wasn't about to be that cool. If it's going to be cool, you're going to feel it. And your life will become better. But yet it's not. Yet don't give up and plan your life for 15 years ahead. If you're already in the industry, staying stable, working electrical engineering job, or software engineering job in pretty big company with established connections, that's cool. That's cool, and I hope for the best for you. If you yet not, you should be looking for building a portfolio which might not get even you, which might not get you a job for the next 15 years. That's the harsh reality, and I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry, but it's harsh reality, and you better to prepare for that. Invest all the free time into gaining knowledge in hard subjects, fundamental subjects, solving problems, finding people, getting any possible job, even minimal wage one, that's not going to take you 12 hours shift, like leave you some space for studying. Like, I mean, guys, that's a serious fight, and I just want to warn you and explain to you that that's the way we're living right now. There's no other way. Yeah. That is, I do think, my proposition. I do believe that the proposition for preparing for the worst in your 40s, getting education for it utmost, like getting all out of it what's possible, getting all possible credentials, work everywhere else, everywhere, and gain the maximum experience and connections everywhere. Like, I do believe that might lead somewhere. No other way. Let's dive in.